Hello, welcome back to my channel, Hasty Books. I'm Camila, and today I am finally doing, even though it's the end of April, my review of the first quarter of 2023. So how has my reading been going so far? Let's pretend it's the end of March. How have my first months gone? And at the same time as this video, I thought I would also do the quarter year crisis book tag because it asks some really cute questions. I believe the original was by Roshin's Reading. I will put the video in the box below. So let's dive right into the questions before going into some stats and look at some things and my goals and how I'm doing or not doing. So question number 1 is, how many books have you read so far? So in the first 3 months of the year, I read 24 books. This is really good. I'm well in front of my goal. I have a much lower goal for this year because I am now working part-time, studying part-time, doing lots of stuff. So, I want to chill my reading a little bit. I believe I read 10 books in January. I was still not studying, so that. February, I read 5 books. And then I think I read 9 books in March. So that's how it's going. So really good. Second question is, have you already found a book you think might be a 2023 favorite? I have 2 books so far that I think I've given 5 stars, and I think that they might end up on my favorite list at the end of the year. That's Babel by R.F. Kuang, and the second is Wandering Souls by Cécile Pin. Question number 3 is, any 1-star books, least favorite book of the year? Well, as you may already know if you've been following my channel, my 2 least favorite books of the year so far have been Pod by Laline Paul and Children of Paradise by Camila, which I read for the long list of the Women's Prize for Fiction and forced myself to finish even though it was excruciating. Let's move on. Number 4, most read genre so far. Well, according to the story graph, in the first 3 months of the year, my top genres were literary, historical, contemporary, and LGBT. So that's quite interesting. I think this is kind of moving across the month. I think like LGBT was like really high in January, and then it kind of has fallen a little bit by the wayside since. I think contemporary may have like overtaken it now. But yeah, so I think that's quite representative of just my general reading, I guess. Question number 5, a book that surprised you. I think that's a great question. I think Babel really surprised me because I went in completely blind and I was just like really pleasantly, not just surprised, like shocked. Question number 6 is a book that's come out in 2023 already that you want to read but haven't yet. Well, I haven't read any of the books that were on my highly anticipated releases of 2023 yet, so I have plenty to go. But the 2 that have definitely come out that I really want to get to soon, the first one is Wayward by Amelia Hart. This, I think my Holden library should be coming in soon, so I'm very excited. And the second is, and I had a hold for this and I started it, but then I dived much too hard into the Women's Prize, was The Secrets of Hartwood Hall by Katie Lumsden of Books and Things. So I'm hoping to finish that soon. Now we're about to go into my goals, but these 2 questions have to do with goals. So the first one is, one goal you made that you're succeeding at. I definitely think it's just overall reading, like numbers. So my goal was 65. And I'm currently, well, not currently, in March, I'm at 24. So I'm definitely ahead of the curve already. Then the next question is, one goal you made that you need to focus on. Probably everything else. But the main ones I want to focus on are reading around the world, my classics TBR, and also reading in French. And finally, the last question on the quarter year crisis book tag is, new to you Booktubers for 2023 that you recommend. I haven't been interacting with the Booktube community as much as I should in the last few months, just because I have so much going on and I'm just trying to still put content out, but I need to get it back. But there's 2 people that I've been following recently that I've loved their content and I really recommend. The first is Kid the Reader and the second is Library of Ali. So I will put their channel in the description below so you can click on them and go and give them some love. Now is the moment. We are looking at my goals. If you follow my channel, you'll have seen that I put a video at the beginning of the year with 15 goals for 2023, just because I didn't have enough going on this year, So how am I doing in all of those goals? In proportionally to first quarter. So as I've already mentioned, my first goal is to read 65 books. In Q1, I should have been at 16 or 17, but I read 24. So I'm definitely ahead, so I'm doing good. Check. Goal number 2 is to do more mood reading, which isn't really quantifiable, so difficult to say. But in January and February, I was very much in mood reading and I was just going with the flow. Read 10 books one, 5 books the other month. Chill. March came and then boom, I was like, I must read all the books on the woman's price for fiction. And I went a bit way too focused, So this May, if you've seen my TBR, I'm kind of heading back toward mood reading and being a bit more relaxed and kind to myself. Goal number 3 was to read a book in Spanish. I have not done that yet, but now I might be reading 2. We'll see how it goes, but I have a few months ahead, so that's okay. In the same vein, my goal number 4 was to read 12 books in French. I've only read 1 up to now, which means that I'm 2 behind. Technically, we're at the end of April. I still have it, so I'm technically 3 behind, let's be honest. But yeah, I'm not doing as well for that one. But I usually read exclusively in French when I go home. I'm going home in July, so I may be able to kind of up that number and get back on track at that point. So I'm not too worried, but I still need to get back into it. In number 5, my goal was obviously to read 6 classics. So I made a list at TBR for the year, but also one of my goals was to continue my list from last year, which had 22 classics for 2022, which was absurd. In January, I did read Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. So that was from last year. So technically I've read 1, but I have read 0 from my current TBR. Goal number 6 was to follow the Women's Prize for Fiction for 2023. I've definitely been doing that. I've been putting out way too many videos about that, and I will put out more, just as a warning. I'm on my 14th book on the long list. I put a predictions video for the long list. I did a reaction to the long list and a predictions for the short list, reaction for the short list. I've given you a vlog for March. I will be giving you a second vlog later whenever I've read more. And then also I will do a reaction to the winner. So I think that's going well. In number 7, my goal was to read 12 books from my shelf, which is a very small goal, but technically, as of March, I had read 4 that were on my shelf. I have given, I believe, 2 of those away, so technically I haven't really reduced because I probably bought loads, but yes, but still, I've read 4 technically, so I'm technically perfectly on time. In number 8, my goal is to read 75% women and non-binary, and then, the rest of men, whatever. So as of now, out of 24 authors, 2 were male only. So I'm definitely doing all right. But I have read 0 non-binary authors, which I definitely need to remedy. In goal number 9, it was to read from 12 new to me countries. As of now, I'm technically 2 books into my list. So I'm just a little bit short, out of the 3 months. So I read a book from North Korea and I read a book from Peru, which were both on my list, even though the book from Peru was not the book on my list. I changed that. Read a contemporary book and I'm happy with that. But I did also read a book from Hungary and a book from Sri Lanka, which I haven't read from before. So technically I'm at 4, but not quite from my list. I'm still happy with that. My goal number 10 was to read 40% plus of authors of color. As of March, I believe I'm at 41%, so I'm quite pleased with that. Goal number 11 is to read the balance of 25% nonfiction and 75% fiction. In January, I wasn't exactly at that balance, but it has since fallen to 13% nonfiction. So, I'll be going back to hopefully reading a bit more nonfiction ahead. I usually get balances out after nonfiction November. Goal number 12 is to read more crime fiction, and that was also a vague goal, but I just want to read potentially more than last year. I did pick up 1 from my shelf recently, which felt very purposeful, and I think that was great. I have 1 that's kind of on my library hold that's coming up soon, like a Scottish crime fiction, so excited for that as well. Goal number 13 is to continue my journey into reading the women who have won the Nobel Prize for Literature. It doesn't really have a number because I don't know that I will be finishing this year, but it's going better than last year, so I feel like that's a win. I read 2 in January and I'm hopefully gonna read a 3rd one in the months to come. So yeah, it's good, I feel like I'm more in the mood and I'm making progress. Goal number 14 was to clear my NetGalley shelf. which like immediately after I put that goal down, I literally like requested so many books. So I think I'm like -1 as in I read one, but then I added like 15 to my list. So I'm not doing that well on this one. Although in the last month, I think I've read 2. So, you know, trying, but it's very slow progress. My last goal number 15, was to read more Indigenous voices, you know, from around the world. I haven't been doing well, as in I have read 0 in the first 3 months of the year. I'm currently in the middle of reading one, so at least, you know, there's a step taken. But yeah, so I'm not done that well, and I feel like of all my goals, there's some that I'm doing really well, some that I haven't started. You know, it's a lot of ups and downs, but I'm generally been really pleased with my reading. So yeah, I don't feel like I'm in crisis. But it's good to kind of remind myself of my goals and try to kind of, oh yeah, I really wanted to read this book this year, you know, just remind myself of that and get back a little bit on track, even though I am trying to go more with the mood. It's kind of giving a bit of themes to my overall TBRs and potentially, you know, reading in the months to come. So yeah, I think I'm quite pleased. And what about you? How has your first quarter of the year gone, you know, reading wise? What's your favorite book so far this year? Please share that with me in the comments. I would love to know what you think. As always, thank you so much for watching and hey, see you back. Bye.